Shalom, fam. What's good? It's been a minute. I've been busy though. Been getting a lot of things done. So, just wanna touch base back with the family. What's going on with y'all? Hope everybody doing well. Wherever you guys are at within your own process, wherever you at in clearing up the mess that's been left behind us. So essentially, life is a blessing, man. We get blessings in many various ways, and we just don't see it. Everything we need, we have it already. In whatever situation you're dealing with, whatever you need, you got it already. Whether that's information, whether that's access to people who have the information, the ideas to get the things rolling, the missing pieces that you may not be aware of, everything you need is around you, in front of you, behind you, above you, and underneath you, as well as within you. So stop looking so far. You don't need to know everything about every single document to be able to make sense of the story. Only thing you need to make sense of is those things that apply to you. Anything I read or I'm studying, I'm not applying I'm not applying it in its entirety to me unless we're talking about my treaty or anything in that context. But outside of that, everything that I study, I focus on what applies to me. I get my mind wrapped around what applies to me, and then how to maneuver or navigate with that new technology or that new information and implement it. Put it into action, not just talk about it. So, it's not the thing that everyone think it is. And when I say the thing, I'm talking about nationality. It's not a thing that you do and then now all of a sudden you're a national. Your nationality is connected directly to your belly button. It's connected directly to the umbilical cord that bonded you and your mother while you was being produced in her learning center for 9 months. Then you was manifested, right? So once you have a certain level of knowledge on the studies of our ancestors, because our ancestors delved into a lot of sciences, not just the several liberal arts. We delved into a lot of spiritual sciences as well. Sciences not just to help better the body, mind, and soul, but to also better the conditions, the living conditions. Now, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not, but I'm getting closer by the day. Every day is a step towards where I want to be. It's a step towards the greatest version of myself that I'm aspiring to be. So that's what it's about. It's not just, I'm a Moor, so I have a title to something, I can make a claim. Nah, man. It's so much deeper than that. Nationality is simply the vehicle that works in this particular solar system. If you want me to start talking like an alien, right? Nationality is the vehicle or the concept or the system that works for this particular galaxy, or in this particular quadrant of the solar system or the Milky Way. So even if we were in a different dimension, you would have to learn the laws of that land and then navigate as such. It's no different. It's the same process, step and repeat. And then now, right, the part that this is where I feel like the confusion comes into play when we start dealing in the commercial aspect of things. Because we all lined up in the national aspect of things. We know the story. We know the storyline. We know where the story took place. We know who the original players are, and we know who the descendants of the original players are today. But when you're dealing with commerce or business, we got to come with a business mentality, a business mindset, but not in such a way where we act in a way that goes against our moral and religious values, the customs and values that our ancestors hold dear. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, when I talk about the ABC, authenticating the birth certificate, ABC, the ABCs of commerce begins with authenticating the birth certificate. You know why? Because you are establishing commercial control over your estate, because it is yours. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if any other more told you about that, but that is your estate. That is your estate. That's your vast estate that the prophet was talking about. Estate means an interest you have in anything. Any interest you have in anything. Let's say you have an interest in property. So if someone's going to sell a particular piece of property, they got to contact you because you are a party of interest dealing with that property. So that property would be considered your estate because you have an interest in it. No different than if I'm a kid and my dad buys me a box of Legos, right? That box of Legos will be considered part of my estate because I have an interest in those box of Legos. Okay? Interest / control / security. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that works. As far as your estate goes, your estate is the interest you have in everything. Now I know when we go into the mundane technologies of the corporate system, they'll list an estate as being, as an estate is pretty much an entity made for a deceased person, right? Or someone who died. But you got to comprehend, person. Whenever you see the term person, especially dealing with legal forms and legalese, anytime you have a legal form in front of you, every word on that document is a legal word, and it has a legal definition. You don't look up those terms on legal documents in regular dictionaries. You look up the legal definition because it's a legal document. Okay? So when you establish dominion, right, by going through the ABCs, authenticating your birth certificate, you establish control over your estate. Estate would be everything you have an interest in. The birth certificate is part of your estate because without you, that estate was never created. That bond was never created. Therefore, you have an interest in it if you choose to claim it. If you don't choose to claim something you have an interest in, that is called abandonment. And in law and in equity, abandonment is synonymous with dishonor. You don't honor a father who abandons his children, do you? Do you abandon someone? Do you honor someone who abandons their property without putting up a fight? Do you have respect for someone who won't fight for their loved ones but will abandon them? Nobody respects anyone who abandons anything because that means you let it go. You ain't fight for it. And if you ain't fight for it, that means you ain't want it. And if you ain't want it, that's because it ain't yours. And honestly, it is yours. The thought process or the propaganda has been to make us think that it is not ours. When it is ours, it is only ours and only ours to use. Because we are the actual creditors of the United States. Whether you want to acknowledge your position or not as a king, you are a creditor of the United States, more. Aboriginal man, woman, whatever you claim as being your inheritance, That's fine, as long as it has something to do with being one of the indigenous peoples of the Americas, or wherever you're from, because that's where your claim or your power will come from. So once again, because you have an interest in the birth certificate is what makes it your estate. So your estate is everything you have an interest in. What do people use to protect their estate? They use something called a trust. So anything you have an interest in, like your ideas or thoughts, let's say you have an idea for a logo for organization, your tribe. You got an idea for a logo for your tribe. You know what you do? You put that in the name of your trust. What do I mean? Whatever organization you're doing that logo for, that organization should be a subordinate organization to your trust. That way, all of your intellectual property rights, intellectual meaning everything that comes from your mind, which would also be part of your estate, right? All your intellectual property rights, which is part of your estate, is protected within your trust. But you got to have a trust to protect it. The same way how if you go to a millionaire's house, something like that, they got a secret safe somewhere, right? Where they hold certain valuables that they don't want to be out and about in the house. It's secret. So think of that safe like a trust, because that's what a trust is. It's a safe that protects your shit from outside forces who would want to take advantage of your shit. Okay? That's all a trust is. So you need a trust to protect your estate. That's why Prophet Drew Ali said to enforce the Constitution. You know why he said that? He said enforce the Constitution because the Constitution is a trust indenture. The United States of America is a trust. I'm going to repeat that one more time. The United States of America is a trust. Who's the grantor of the trust? Who's the grantor of the trust? The Moors. Oh, you didn't know? You didn't know? The Articles of Confederation, the more perfect union, is based off the Moors? You didn't know that? So the Constitution is our trust indenture, because the Constitution is directly connected to our treaty via Article 6, being the supreme law of the land. So the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between Morocco and the United States of America, July 15, 1786, is the trust. Are you a beneficiary of the trust? Because the beneficiary would be Georgie and the agents of the United States, Thomas Barclay, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams. You understand what I'm saying? So where is your role in the trust? When you enforce the Constitution, you are enforcing trust law. By enforcing trust law, you are implementing international law. By implementing international law, you are letting the world know that you are awake and alive and not civil little mortus, but you are actually in full life. In propria persona, su juris, su heritis, solo proprio. But you got to do that. You got to know that, live that, breathe it, and be it. No one can tell you how to be yourself. However, we can give each other input or advice on how to get our shit right. And when you're getting your shit right, there's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide. And I'm not saying, oh, go back into the commercial world using the Social Security. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that social was attached to your estate that was created upon your arrival through that birth certificate bond, which you have an interest in. It's just that you can't claim your interest as a baby because you're incompetent. Makes sense. But what I will say is, claim your estate. Enforce the Constitution. That's what the prophet meant when he said, claim your vast estate and enforce the Constitution. Read up Article 22 in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Because when the heirs appear, the estate shall be returned without interruption. So when the prophet is saying reclaim your vast estate, he was being very literal.
about that. Reclaim your vast estate, y'all. Reclaim it. Reclaim your vast estate and then enforce the Constitution. Only one way to enforce the Constitution. You have to come in the honor of your ancestors. You have to come in the honor of your mothers and your foremothers and your forefathers who came before you. Once again, goes in perfect alignment with the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Okay, perfect alignment. There ain't no discredit in that. Okay, so once you comprehend that, then there's no confusion as to you and how you need to start operating. All right, so your estate is everything you have an interest in. Believe it or not, if you have a partner and you have an interest in her, then she's a part of your estate. She's a part of your estate. Why? Because you have an interest in her. If something happens to her, then you'd want to know what the hell's going on. It would affect you, is what I'm saying. That's what interest means. It means that whatever connection you got to this will affect you in some way, shape, or form if something is done with this without your consent. So reclaim your vast estate and show the world that you are of majority and not of minority. Reclaim the ABC and become the holder in due course. Become a freeholder, because you're not a freeholder until you have done that. No way around that. You're not a freeholder until you have done that, because it's been more than 7 years where the assumption has been that we've been lost at sea. Okay, I don't know what y'all was doing at age 7, but at age 7 I was not thinking about no lost at sea, admiralty, maritime, United States corporation, fictitious entity. I know nothing about nothing. I was just an infant or a child at that point at 7. So it's extremely important that we know ourselves, and once we remember who we are, don't forget, but keep on studying, keep on building the knowledge base, because the more knowledge you have about you, the stronger your energy is when you go out and about in the outside world, doing commerce with different societies and different countries. Okay, so understanding that there's only one way to move. Nationality is the order of the day. And then once you have your nationality, reclaim your vast estate. There's certain processes in place for that, y'all. Because for one, you're going to have to do a IRS Form 56. Right? And I would suggest you do that after you create an estate for your straw. If you don't know how to do that, I have another Suno University page up, which I'll be renaming soon, called Suno University Workshops. In the workshops page, you can find videos on how to do exactly what I'm talking about, as far as creating an estate for your straw. Okay, and then having an EIN number for that straw, making sure the responsible party is your trust or your tribe or whatever organization you're a part of. And then from there, SS5 form, you want to update everything. Make sure you're the registered owner of it and not looked at as it itself. You are not it. You are the registered owner of it. You hold dominion over it. Okay? Then you have the SS521 form, withdrawal or rescission of signature. Why? Because we're going to rescind our signatures on everything, because all the transactions they've been making using our bonds, we have not been compensated for our interest in the property. They've been taking advantage of our ignorance. Therefore, I'm taking back all my signatures. Take back. Oh, you've been using my signature for this bullshit? I'm taking all my signatures back. Give me all my signatures back. I want a withdrawal of everything from Social Security. Whatever the fuck is in there. Even if there ain't shit in there. The point is, I'm rescinding my signature. So therefore, whatever is due to me that was done without my consent is owed to me in equity, according to law. You can't argue with that. And every judge in every state is bound to that very same act or very same law, constitutional law. You could look up in any constitution, you'll find it there. So I'm saying this to say Don't be afraid of reclaiming your estate to put yourself back in proper positioning to actually live your life out as a creditor of the United States. We are creditors of the United States, goddammit. That's what our ancestors did. We're not making some shit up. So it only makes sense. There's a process laid out since they've been administering our estate, since we've been lost at sea, asleep. They've been having fun with our virtues. So it's time to retake control of our virtues, of our fruits, of our labor, and reinvest that back into what we want to reinvest that back into. Ourselves and our family, and whatever mission we have that will aid in the Prophet's great work of uplifting fallen humanity. Everybody's mission is a small piece to the great overall mission. So we all got the same mission, y'all. We're all missionaries. The difference is between me and someone who'd be like, oh no, I'm not a missionary. The difference is I've claimed it. I've claimed that. I have a mission in life. I've claimed that. I have a goal. There's somewhere I want to reach. There's a plateau I'm aiming at. Okay? So, once again, once you know yourself, and then once you are no longer afraid to take claim of your estate, take economic control of your straw, because it's your straw. It's your straw. Even after you ex-rel it, only you have information in regards to it. So only you can speak on behalf of that. But you don't want to speak on behalf of that straw, or even speak for the straw as an authorized representative. You are not a representative of that thing. You are the owner. A, B, C. Authenticate the birth certificate. Become the registered owner. Become the holder in due course. Lock the system out of abusing you. Don't allow them to mistake you for a surety and not the owner in equity. Don't let them do that to you, because that's what they've been doing for the past 240 something years. And we've been getting caught with the okie doke over and over and over again. It's time for some shit to change, y'all. But the change ain't gonna happen from me. It's gonna happen from you. I'm living out my change. You got to do the same. And so there are certain things you're gonna need. Get familiar with the IRS. Don't be afraid. Learn these systems and know how they operate, and then work the shit out of them. Don't let them work you. You work them. Because this is your land. You know the lays of the land, right? So if this is your land, and therefore if it's your land, you should know everything about your land. You should know how the system on your land is working, what is working, what is not working, what needs to be implemented to start working. These are all things that are responsibilities of indigenous peoples, not of foreigners. Okay? So I think once we have established that and come and accept that truth, then it'll start getting better. Okay? Because I've already established the fact through UCC that it is not necessary nor effective if you're operating in compliance with your treaty. So stop jumping through the hula hoops. There's not hula hoops for us to jump through. We just got to get right mentally and then just enforce it or manifest that energy here on this plane called Earth. That's all it is, fam. Form 56, Form 521, SS5 form. Get familiar with these forms. Read them. See what they're for. See what they're about. Don't just start doing something just because you hear someone say, oh, I heard this brother mention Form 56. So let me start, and you get ready to send something out. You don't even know, you don't understand what you're sending out. You don't even know why you're doing it. You got to have the why. You can't navigate this plane without your why. Right here in your chest, in your heart. That's where your why is at. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you proclaiming to be a missionary? Why? Why do you go out into the world like this? Why do you project yourself the way you project yourself? Why do you choose to live by truth and not by lies? Why? What's your why? That's all everybody wants. Your why. You know why? Because that's where your power is. Your power is in your why. So if I ask you what's your reason for declaring your nationality and your why is weak as shit, you ain't going to do very well in the real world. Because that why don't got enough behind it. It don't got enough spiritual force. Meaning you haven't gotten your ass kicked enough to take this shit serious. That's why your why ain't shit yet. So when you do finally get tired of getting your ass whooped and you ready to make a change, your why will not only be substantial, it will be more than you could have ever imagined. And this is why I said in the beginning of the video that everything you need is within you, in front of you, behind you, above you, and beneath you. Open your eyes and look, and slow down. Stop going so fast. I've been studying for 7 years. It's taken me 7 years to get my mind to the comprehension level that I get right now. 7 years. It's not something I did overnight. And it's not something where I was just studying 30 minutes a day either. We're talking about excruciating hours of studying, like long hours. But it was fun, so it wasn't really long. It just so happens as you're studying, you just happen to notice, oh shit, the sun came up and the sun went down. Goddamn, the day is gone. That's what happens when, you're in tune to studying. But like I said, study those things that apply to you. Don't waste your energy studying things that don't apply to you. Study those things that apply to you and preserve your energy for those things needed to manifest those things that apply to you. Period. Okay? I'm your brother Cool. Love y'all. I'll be seeing y'all soon. Be looking for me in New York. I'm going to be out there for a couple weeks. So, Moors, get in contact with me out there. We can definitely build and get some things done. You know what I'm saying? In terms of unifying the people out there to get ourselves established moving forward. All right? So, with that being said, love and light, family. Peace. Oh, and y'all can also catch me. I'll be in Far Rockaway on Sunday the 26th. I'll be doing a lecture. The link to the flyer is in the description box, so just check that out and holla at me. Like I said, I'll be in New York till the 13th, so Moors, got some work to do. I'll let your brother Cool. Peace.